E- Welcome. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the very, very fresh and new episode of Diversity is the Game Changer in 2025. And look at me, I'm so lucky, my lucky 10. Who is this person? Oh my God. But I said welcome back, but maybe even I would rather just to greet you, my lovely audience, welcome forward and forward and forward. It's exactly what this person, my honorable guest, is amplifies, teaching us all the time. It's just forward, it's no back, but also around for reflecting. And of course, his teacher, it's our truly extraordinary guest whose life has become the epitome of resilience and human potential. In our 10th episode, titled SEAM SWARNER, The Living Testament to Resilience. And I'm so privileged and I'm more than honored to welcome you, Sean. Thank you so much for being with us today. And your word, and then I start presenting you. I try to do it briefly, but you have accomplished so much, so it will be challenging.
I appreciate that. It's funny. Excuse me, it's still early over here. It's funny what you mentioned about welcome forward, because I know so many people who think about what they would tell their younger selves, like what advice they would give their younger self. But I think the better thought experiment is, what would your future self say to you today? Because you can't go in the past. You can't change anything. There are no time machines to go back and say, hey, change this, do this differently. But you can project into the future and pretend at least to change your future. So when you're welcoming forward, you're thinking about the forward, you're thinking about the future. So I think that's the better thought experiment, is what would your future wiser version of you say to you right now?
Yes, exactly. Wow, we already, you see, started with even the very first 3 minutes with one of the highlights, which I have never reflected in this way, but from now on, I will be. Thank you so much. And of course, I'm more than absolutely honored to welcome you today here. And you are the legendary world record holder whose remarkable achievements transcend the boundaries of human potential. And you are a global mindset leader for me and for many, many people. Role model, keynote speaker, author, and not just the only person in history who conquered the Mount Everest, all 7 summits, and both North and South Poles, which I already mentioned. I was crying the whole night with you, but we'll come back to that later. It was happiness tears, of course. And you successfully completed what is called the Explorers Grand Slam. And thanks to you, again, I've opened this new, completely new knowledge, I don't know, chapter. I have never heard about this expression from tennis, probably, because I used to play a little bit tennis, but I've never known about. Now I know, and I start thinking about, okay, like thinking forward now, right? Maybe I also need to, But and also you are the performer of the Hawaii Ironman Triathlon, and all that after overcoming 2 terminal cancer diagnoses and living with just 1 lung. And oh my God, your also participation and endeavor in charity. I was reading yesterday and watching a lot because my heart really always passionate towards that, because this is also the very, very special part in my life. We will come back a little bit to that. But dear Sean, your journey stays me like such resilience. So welcome, please. And I'm so happy you can you can share your experience together with our audience. So yes.
I was going to say, it's also amazing because when you watch that film, which I'm sure we'll get to, we flew through your area and up into Tromsø, which was beautiful when we traveled up there. But 3 weeks ago, I also ran what's called the Great World Race, and that's running 7 marathons in 7 days on all 7 continents.
Oh my God, 777. And
I'm still recovering.
Yes, it's actually 7. It's my lucky number, but also 7. It's like, okay, it's from Bible and it's 7 days in the week, right? And Семья, family in my language, okay, Russian, Ukrainian, родина in Ukrainian, but we can also use семья. It's seven me. Семья. So семь it's seven, yeah, me. So it's also it's very special, right? And we always say, oh, I was so happy like at seven sky or something. So you see, it's very, very cool. That now it's you said 7 marathons and you've completed also that, right? And what was the last country and where was it, the
Well,
last one?
we started in Antarctica, ran a marathon there, and then we flew to excuse me, Cape Town. Then we flew to Cape Town, South Africa. Then we flew over to Perth, and then from Perth to Istanbul, the Asia side, European side. Then we flew to Cartagena, Colombia for South America, and then we flew to Miami for North America. So literally seven marathons in 7 days.
Oh my God. But when you were flying, was it also absolutely a rule that you should have been running all the time inside plane?
That's what it felt like. It felt like get off the plane, run a marathon, get on the plane, travel. Get off the plane, run a marathon, race back to the plane so the plane doesn't leave without you, and then get back on the plane and fly to the next place.
Oh my God, this is so cool. But okay, so of course, like everybody, you are so big star and everybody want to ask you so many questions, but the time is limited and me are not exclusion from that. But of course, I would like to start from your childhood and teenager and youth, because this is where the whole story started and where you are so was chosen by God to be another boy, right? Another teenager. So diagnosed with two deadly and unrelated forms of cancer. Once at age 13 and at age 16, you astounded the medical community, not just them, but all people, by surviving both. And story of your childhood and teenage life is nothing short of extraordinary. But before I'm going to ask you a question, I would like to quote you. And you said once, you can't go through a traumatic event without it changing who you are. But the greatest thing about your life is that you can choose how you see that. You can always choose your own perspective. And I believe what an indomitable spirit, like I have already mentioned. But when we are talking about your traumatic experience, you had to experience it from very young age, right? So this is the crucial difference, because what I already quoted you, we are used to come later in life. But when you are young and you oh my God, should go through that. So could you please share with us what really helped you to overcome these obstacles in so young age, and how this mindset actually changed the whole your life, of course, and the decision you made in your adulthood? And now I'm really sipping, and now because I put my here, Valeria, now you're listening.
I that's funny. I think looking back at it, I can see now that it was a blessing. I can see now that what I went through changed my life for the better. And when you were, and when most people were 13 to 17 years old, what were they worried about? Being popular, where they were going to sit at lunchtime, maybe. And now it might be, who's on social media. I remember being 30 kilograms overweight, in the shower on my hands and knees. My hair was falling out in clumps because of the medicine, clogging the drain, and the water was rising up while I was on my hands and knees sobbing. And I remember pulling chunks of hair out of the drain and throwing it against the wall so the water could go down. But it was in that moment that I realized I didn't want to focus on not dying. I wanted to focus on living. So many people who, when they're trying for a goal, when they're reaching for something big, they often tell themselves, hey, for running, for example, don't stop. I'm not going to stop. They're telling themselves something negative. I learned at a young age not to focus on the avoidance of something negative that you don't want to happen, but you focus your energy and attention on something you do want to happen. So at 13, I shifted my entire perspective to focus on surviving and living. And I really think we all have a choice in that, because when I was first diagnosed, my parents, they never said the word cancer. They said, Sean, you're sick. We're going to get you better. We're going to do everything we possibly can to get you back with your friends and family and everything else. So because I implicitly trusted my parents, I believed that to be true. And I think that planted the seed. I wasn't fighting for my life. In my mind, I was just sick. So I think that's what really helped. And then looking back at it, like I said, it's a blessing, because now whenever I go through something traumatic, I know I can handle it. And I think it's all up here. So the words that we choose to tell ourselves on a daily basis, every single day, we talk to ourselves more than anybody else in the world. The words we choose to talk to ourselves with, the words that we pick for the internal dialogue, can shape our future. And I think we need to all start paying attention to that. Are the words you're choosing, are they picking you up or are they bringing you down? I learned that at such a young age. And it's not being arrogant or cocky or having a big ego. It's just showing self-love and appreciating yourself and pushing yourself forward with encouragement. And I learned that at 13, 14 years old. So over the years of developing this talent of self-awareness, I think it's just become a habit now. Anyone can do it. I'm no different than you. You might not be climbing Everest, but that doesn't mean your challenges are any more difficult.
Yes. Thank you so much. And oh my God, it's so true, everything you're talking now. And I'm so just kind of blessed and a little bit maybe pity, because the power of positive affirmations I have discovered actually recently, believe me or not, because I made in Soviet, and for us, unfortunately, the culture of praising yourself, even championing small victories, and to say good stuff about yourself, it was kind of seen. It was not allowed. It was like, you shouldn't. It was like you are bragging. It's not good at all. And we kind of developed this very, very critical, harsh way of talking to ourselves inside. And thanks to you and many other people, I'm always learning from, and I discovered positive affirmation through Louise Hay. Probably everybody, of course, know about her, right? So she became really great now partner in my new way of thinking and approaching. But I'm so amazed, inspired by you, because you said even at this young age you already practice positive affirmations, right? Like you said, you never thought of not dying. You think that you are recovering. You're just just to be better. And even you were talking about in some interviews, like positive affirmation and making like micro changes, like and for me it's incredible that your parents, how they approach, how they actually choose, right, to support you and to be with you, but also to I don't know, to form all this message, because people before and now at the hospital, when you have cancer, it just, yes, some tools are changed, but how they can just deliver information, it's very also impactful, right? How you get it, right? What you actually put in your mind. Like you said, we are talking with us mostly. It's better we are friends with ourselves, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's, going back to what you said, growing up in the Soviet Union, bragging wasn't allowed. You can brag on yourself all you want if it's inside. No one knows what you're saying to yourself except for you. It's inside your own mind. That's where the voices are. Not the crazy voices that are going to stick you in a round room with a padded cell, but the voices that lift you up or bring you down. No one knows what you're saying to yourself except for you. So you can brag on yourself and you can pick yourself up. Just be humble on the outside. I think that's the key as well. But also celebrate those little differences or those little wins. Because if, for example, I take a group up Kilimanjaro every year. I'm leaving in 2 days again. And the average success rate on the mountain is 48%. My groups are at 99% success rate. I think it's because we break down the mountain. When everybody gets there, they look up and they're like, oh my God, I can't do that. And I tell them, I call that their oh shit moment. So they have,
Okay.
and I said, look, we're not going from here to there. We're going from here to here, here to here, here to here. So focus on those little goals. And then every time we take a break on the mountain, it takes 6 days up and then 1 day down. Every time we take a break on the mountain, I tell them, hey, look behind you and appreciate how far you've already come. Now you multiply that over 6 days. Now look how far you've come. So as opposed to just being focused on one major, big, giant goal, break it down into little tiny goals and celebrate those wins along the way. And when you turn around, you realize you've really come a long way in your life.
Exactly. The strategy of small steps, right? I believe my mom always taught me, like, before my first master degree and the second, and a lot of different, like, okay, she always like was kind of laughing, but she was asking me, Valeria, is it possible to eat the whole elephant, right? She was like, no, yes, with small teaspoon, right? It's the same. So you should really portion it and celebrate your small victories, of course. And I'm very happy for knowing and realizing that your family played this pivotal role when you made all these challenges, and understanding that you've got unwavering support and love of your family, their constant presence, compassion, encouragement. I believe, like, family in my case as well, it's most love in selfless form, and it's irreplaceable force to overcome life's greatest obstacles. And it's not that many people probably actually aware that when they have it and take it for granted. But for me, like, I was raised just by my mom. I didn't have the full family, and I have adopted 2 kids, so I know how important the part, especially for overcoming obstacles, like you. So I'm happy that I know your father and your mother and brother, they are so proud of you, right? So I believe you're still very close, right? Are you together with them now, or?
No, unfortunately, with the United States being so large, like Russia as well, people spread out. So I have my family's all over the country. But when I go visit my wife's family, she's born and raised in Puerto Rico, the little tiny island in the Caribbean. The whole family always comes together, which is fantastic. But going through the cancers, climbing Everest, the 7 summits, the 7 summits, every adventure that I've ever been on, either physical, literal, or figurative, I have never made it to the top of any significant peak by myself.
No.
I've always had a support system in place. You can't do it by yourself. Let's hypothetically say you get to the top of a mountain by yourself or accomplish a great goal and there's no one around. Yay, self high five. You give yourself a high five and that's it. You celebrate alone. Who wants that?
No.
Yeah. Surround yourself with people who support you and lift you up.
Exactly. It's the most important. That's why my next question is actually about resilience and mindset, right? And but before that, I wanted to ask about this again, positive affirmation. Do you have any special affirmation that you are using mostly, which is most effective, most magical one? Because when you are walking through all this, distance to the North Pole, so you said you all the time talking to yourself, right? And it's the time to really, oh my God, meeting the person who lives inside you. You can never escape from yourself. But when it's really, really hard and you believe, oh, I can't stand anymore, do you have any kind of magical one special affirmation that you can share with me? For example, what you can advise me when I really like, at the bottom?
Absolutely. And it's interesting you mentioned that, because I was just talking yesterday with a friend of mine, and when bad things do happen, it's not that I deal with them in the moment right then and there.
Mm-hmm.
I deal with them before they happen. So that way, when it does happen, in my mind, I've already figured out a plan and a way to deal with it. It's just like when people ask me, hey, how do you begin your day? Or how do you begin your week? My day begins the night before. I look at my calendar, I'm like, okay, this is what I'm doing tomorrow. And on Sunday, I look at the calendar, look, okay, this is what I'm doing for the week. So it's
Mm-hmm.
planned out before it even happens. Same thing with when something goes wrong. When I was on Mount Everest, for example, I knew I could fall into a crevasse and die. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't here, thank God. But I dealt with those situations before I got there. I didn't focus on them, but in my mind, if something happened, I would know how to get myself out of the situation.
Mm-hmm.
So I deal with it even before it happens. So when I'm laying in bed every morning, my eyes open up. I literally tell myself, the past is gone. There's nothing I can do about it.
Mm-hmm.
The future may never come.
Mm-hmm.
So no matter what happens today, today is the best day ever. So every single morning my eyes open, I tell myself today is the best day ever. And whose choice is it to make it that way? Mine. No one's going to no one's going to give me the best day ever. I have to make it the best day ever. And on Everest, I told myself with every step, I had a mantra. With one step, I would say the higher I go. With the other step, I would say the stronger I get. So the higher I go, the stronger I get. The higher I go, the stronger I get. When I was running the marathons that I mentioned on all 7 continents, I twisted it around a little bit. I said, the further I go, the stronger I get. The further I go, the stronger I get. So it depends on what situation I'm in.
Okay.
But my day always begins with, when my eyes open, past is gone, future may never come, today's the best day ever.
Amazing, because it reminds me a little bit when I wake up. So also I practice gratitude, right? Or like 3 things actually, sometimes I have like really, because my favorite color is pink, so I have like gratitude book, so I write 3 or 5 per day gratitude, and I start like every morning at least think, and it's the same like you said. It's about breath. When you sometimes really like in chaos of your mind and you need to ground, so you always think you can always come back to your breath, because your breath can never be from the past and can never be in the future. It's always here, right here with you, where you are living, right? So it's very important, like you said. It's like about mantra. It's kind of, I see a lot of similarity, right? So we in this approach. Thank you so much. So but about resilience and mindset, despite being in medically induced coma for a year with only one functioning lung and a prognosis of 14 days to live, you became the first cancer survivor to stand up on, like we said already, Mount Everest and completing the Explorers Grand Slam. And like I mentioned already, I was so deeply touched by your story, your flag story, your flag and name story. Oh my God, I was crying because I was watching this film today until 3 a.m. and I was crying and crying. It was so deeply for me, because I was kind of also imagine and related. If I knew you maybe before, I could also help and share, because my mom, she has survived also very severe cancer, and she has just one kidney, and this kidney is already has been operated, and in this kidney she has a stone, and we basically never know when stone can start moving upside and just block everything. And she has diabetes, so every single day, like you said, I love the expression. I could also learn from you that it's amazing. Cancer patients can't just take a day off. Oh my God, we need really to think and reflect. So many who doesn't have like this disease, that okay, maybe today, maybe tomorrow, maybe not this day, but really people like you have been experienced. No, you can't think like that. You cannot just take day off, right? And I believe in this flag. I believe, oh my God, it's already my mom and my stepdad. He has the second time now prostate cancer, and he was due chemotherapy 5 weeks. We just finished 2 weeks ago, because they're refugees now. They're staying with me in Norway, so they're like babies for me, because they're sick. They lost everything. They cannot language, they cannot system. So they're my basically babies now, and both of them has cancer. And I just believe these names, this courage, everything have been done, not just for you, but sitting even in in this prose and writing the name in the show, like I was, oh my God, you're my hero from now. So tell me, please, of course, about your mindset, about your resilience, about how do you cultivate resilience and mindset, taking the great accomplishments, and how everything that started. Why you decided, okay, after all you have been through, that I should go to this mount, and it was just the first mountain, and then further and further, and
Right.
I'm still there.
It's interesting how it started. I I was I was in university studying to be a doctor. I was working on my psychology degree because I wanted to be a psychologist for cancer patients. And as you mentioned and alluded to, cancer is not an individual disease. The family goes through it. Everyone's affected by it somehow. So I wanted to use what I went through and my studies to help the patient and the families, the caretakers, everybody. But for the longest time, I didn't deal with it myself. I just kept picking up the rug and brushing the dirt underneath. And if you keep picking up the rug and brushing the dirt underneath, the rug's going to have this giant bump underneath of it full of dirt and garbage. That's pretty much what happened to me. I just kept ignoring it. I didn't do anything about it. And then I finally decided I need to get the vacuum cleaner out and just get rid of everything, which I did. And I realized because I didn't deal with it, I couldn't help others. If you don't help yourself, you can't help other people.
Exactly.
You have to help yourself first. And so many people constantly give and give and give and give and give. Their cup is getting more empty, more empty, more empty. So you're actually doing people an injustice by not taking care of yourself first, because you're not well enough to give to them 100%. If you're giving to people 5%, you have to take care of yourself first. So I did that, and I wanted to give back to the cancer community and be, like you mentioned, the first cancer survivor to climb Everest. And I wanted to use that as the highest platform in the world to give people hope. Oftentimes I didn't have hope, and I wanted to see if I could help inspire and motivate and show people that cancer is not a death sentence. It can be a beautiful life afterwards. And the names that I took on the flag to the highest point on Earth and the highest point on every continent, and the North Pole, South Pole, I wasn't doing Everest for me. I was doing it for them. And those names aren't just names, they're people. I'm doing them for people like Julia, Steve, Jorg, Andrew. They're real people.
Mm-hmm.
I have their encouragement. So when I have a bad day, or I'm struggling on the mountain, or I'm struggling training, whatever it might be, I can hear their voices saying, you got this, Sean, keep going. I got these crazy voices in my head pushing me forward. And you're right, cancer patients can't take a day off. Like on the mountains, I can pick up my satellite phone and say, hey, I'm done, get me out of here. Insurance kicks in, helicopter comes, takes me away. Cancer patients can't pick up the phone and say, I'm just not feeling it today. I'm going to leave the hospital. It's not an option. They can't do that.
Yeah, right.
But the resilience comes in from having, and it's not overnight. It's a little by little by little by little. And when you do it for the right reasons, it's not something you need to work on. It's something you want to do. Mm-hmm. And I've found that if you have an underlying purpose for your actions, whatever personal core value you have most, whatever means most to you, if you're supporting that, then you're going to continue doing it because it obviously means something to you. So when people are going after these giant goals like the summit of Mount Everest, or to make it more understandable, someone wants a raise at their job. They want a bigger house. They want to buy a new car. Well, why? Is it because you want to brag and be flashy because now you have more money? Or is it because that to you, that represents success and that represents stability for your family? Mm-hmm. If you're going after those goals because of a deeper purpose, you're never going to stop because it means more to you than the thing.
Exactly. I
You know,
understand. Yeah. Sorry,
well,
I interrupt
yeah,
you
I
now.
was going to say, I actually, for the longest time, I couldn't find something online to help support resilience. I actually, I'll share a link with you. I created an online 3-week mental or a mindset challenge that
Mm,
helps people use their own personal core values to focus on what they want, not what I want for you, not what somebody else wants for you. Because if you're going after other goals that other people want for you,
that's
you're going to get lost in the process. Yeah, you're done. You need to find the reason behind what you're doing, focus on what you value most, not what others value for you. So it's a 3-week online mindset challenge to help build resilience and to help you focus on changing your life based on what you value. And it's called the Big Hill Challenge. Just go to thebighillchallenge.com. I'll give you a code, and we'll give people
mhm.
half.
Amazing, because all that resonates so much to me, and it's so important for me because, oh my God, I'm also struggling, and I really believe that adversity can be the great resource and fuel for the uh, making great changes and to become better, to do something better. But without experiencing yourself, it's almost not possible. And like you said, it's about purpose in your life. And yes, it's nice to set some goals to achieve, but you really need to know why. You need to feel alignment. Do these goals really make you happy? Are there your values, right, your purpose? And like you said, and of course, if you want to achieve them, you should first of all take care of yourself, build your inner values and course and resilience, like in the plan, right? Take mask on yourself, then on others. Like you said, first of all, you should create your resource and then share, like Wi-Fi. You cannot be hotspot if you don't have the signal, right? It doesn't helpful at all. So for me, I was many years just giving, and it's emptied my cup completely. And plus, this podcast, actually, believe me or not, it's just 10 episodes, but it was born while I was in mental institution. Last autumn, the last week of August, I became again so bad because of I have OCD last 14 years, and sometimes like every third year probably it's really severe episodes. And when the war broke out, so I took pull myself together. I had to help my parents and friends and my children who are adopted from Ukraine, many. But like you said, but I totally forgot to take care about myself, and all these signals, all this Wi-Fi, everything I had inside, I just gave away, and I became so badly, right? So I just decided now it's time to take care of me. And for me, plus also because I have this diagnosis. So but I decided to be responsible grown up, and went to we have in Norway actually a very good system for people like me, because in Soviet it's still very much prejudice, and yes, it's stigmatization. And okay, it's all over the world, because now we are talking you and me about physical obstacles, but I'm sure you have also experienced a lot of not just physical obstacles, right? And like me and you, we have a very good friend Anwar El Kamouni, right? And he wrote the book. It's not cancer who is killing; it's depression, right? And we should talk more and more now about all type of health issues, all type of diversity in people, because we are diversity, like you and me, gender diversity, cultural diversity, but also neurodiversity. And for me, it was so important also, like for you, to start helping people who go through adversity with which are connected with maybe diagnosed like I have, or ADHD or PTSD. And that's why I decided to establish the podcast. And uh, and thank you, and many people, they understand when actually I'm open about my problems, really, that okay, I also have very challenging times. And as much you help me, and I can even share that, it helps me, it builds my resilience, like you said, every single day, right? So okay, but this is podcast not about me, this is about you. So I would like to ask about diversity, inclusion, and equality. You are dealing with so many people all around the world, in the charity organization, in your marathons, in everywhere. What is your approach to diversity, inclusion, and equality? How you, like a person, deal uh, with these aspects?
Honestly, I think diversity is an amazing thing. I imagine what the world would be like if everyone thought the same thing.
Mm.
It's boring. Some people think,
Yeah.
oh,
Oh my God, yes.
yeah. Some people think, oh, that would be a great world if everyone thought like me. No, you need someone to push you a little bit better. You need someone to have a different perspective. So one of the things I do, I've been to 70 some countries now, and before I go, I do research online. I think a lot of people who are afraid of something different just aren't educated on the differences. They just don't know. And I would say it's probably a lot of Americans are guilty of that because they're afraid of something different. And I think those differences are what make the world unique. I think those differences are what make people unique. And I think we need to embrace those differences. And people who are afraid of something different just don't know or understand the other side. It's what the news puts out there. It's what the media puts. Don't get your news on Instagram. Don't get your news on social media. Go to Google. Go to Yahoo. Go somewhere to research it. And don't just read one thing. Read both sides. So that way you understand both sides of the coin. So whenever I go somewhere, I always do research. And I think that really helps, educating myself. But also when I'm in the countries, Nepal, for example, I take a group up to Everest Base Camp every once in a while. That culture is very, very different. I remember last time we went to a place, I took the group to a place called Pashupati, right? And it's where the Hindus burn their deceased bodies, right? So that's what most people from I would say our culture, our perspective think. When we get there, a lot of people, we're looking around, it's on a river, and some people ask me, what's that smell? I was like, you probably don't want to know what that smell is, but it's human bodies being burned. And in our culture, it's like, oh my God, what's going on here? People are screaming, people are crying. It's like a funeral for us. But for them, because of their belief system, what they're doing is they're having the body go back to the 5 universal elements. So it's going back into the universe. So if you look at it from their perspective, you might not believe it. That's perfectly fine, but just respect those differences. Let them do their thing. But if you look at it from their perspective, you might see that it's not, oh my God, what are they doing? It's, oh my God, that's kind of cool for them. And with those differences is perfectly fine. But just educate yourself on those differences before you start judging.
Absolutely. Everything about being open. And for me, I also believe that the ultimate glue in the whole global society, it's respect. If you put your glasses, which call respect, not judgment, but respect, because if you purpose to find something bad, you will always find. If you purpose to find something positive, you will always find. But you cannot compare, like, pencil with apple, right? Because 2 different culture, they're just different. It doesn't mean that they're worse or better. They're just different. And if you have respect and little bit courage, but maybe even more courage for some countries to be open and respectful, you can always, oh my God, you can always gain this fruitful, more colorful diversity in your life, because you can learn so much cool new experiences and share. And it's how actually the progress is happening and everything, right? Like you said, that's because of rainbow. yes, rain is boring because it's just one color, but rain is beautiful, right? So, but without rain, we can have not. It's challenging diversity, but when we are a little bit more open and a little bit and based on respect, I believe it's actually the ultimate recipe. But it's for me, it's in my eyes. And now I want. That's why actually I would like to talk more about cultural diversity, like and race diversity, which is ethnical diversity important, which I'm studying in my PhD as well. And of course, I would like to talk about your charity engagement in Africa. And can you tell a little bit more about this original accessory? Right, you are involved in this campaign, beautiful campaign, and these beautiful paintings from. How you pronounce it right? More in Tanzania, more how you can you please share? This is beautiful.
Absolutely. So I've been up Kilimanjaro, which is the highest mountain in Africa. I've been up Kilimanjaro 25 times. I have been adopted into the local Chugga tribe. So it's a local indigenous tribe at the base of the mountain, and it's called the Chugga tribe. And they adopted me into the Chugga tribe, and they call me Mzungu Kicha in Swahili, which means crazy white man. So it's a loving term, right? I love it. But
Yeah.
they're literally my family now. They're like brothers. And my wife climbed the mountain just once, and when she was there, she fell in love with the culture as well. And I've always taken people to the local school, the local orphanage. And when my wife was there, she fell in love with the kids. And we, unfortunately, because of medical things, we can't have children. So she fell in love with the kids. And for the past 7 years now, she's raised enough funds to feed for the entire year 100 orphans every year. So that's what her charity's about. So when I'm on the mountain, climbing the mountain, showing people how to get to the top, she's down at the base of the mountain with all these kids having a great time, going to the market, getting rice and beans and cooking oil and soap and everything else to help take care of them. This past year, she raised enough money to help build an addition onto the school. So she's really immersed herself in the culture. And I'm actually really proud of her for doing that, because giving back to others, initially I thought we were going to be helping them so much, but in reality, I think we're getting more out of it than they are.
Exactly. I know what you mean. Because for me and my husband as well, and my husband, he was crying with me until 3 in the night because he is a leukemia, blood cancer survivor. And he got the message also that he had just 6 months to live. And it was 25 years ago. But he never gave up because he had at that time 3 kids. And he swore to God and prayed a lot if God gave him life back. So absolutely he need to do something very special. And I was raised in Ukraine, and I was worked besides orphanage every single day for kids with special needs and diagnoses. And I was not capable myself at that time to help them, but I swear one day I will be back in my native city and will do something for this orphanage and for many other orphanages in Ukraine, and I will adopt kids. And when we had the very first dinner, I had like you said, I had the whole plan. I was just 23 years old, but I said, I don't have time for a guy like you in my life because you have 3 kids and I have the whole plan. Now I need to study, I need to earn money because I need to go back to Kherson. I need to establish Wings of Hope, and I need to adopt at least 2 kids with special needs. So you don't have time. I need really a guy who will be helping me. And then he showed his story and said, maybe you're the right person, because now I really owe to God. Because I'm cancer survivor, and then it's like it's long story short, but we made it happen like ourselves. We have adopted Michelle and Nicole. I even know the names. I have the whole plan for all my life, and now we have these beautiful teenagers. We adopted. Michelle was just 1 year old, and Nicole was 3 years old. Nice. So I know about. Why I'm saying that very, very seldom I'm speaking, but about giving back or taking, because at the end of the day, they are giving us so much, and they gave, and I believe at some point they actually saved our family. That's for sure. And my mom, she was teaching me from the very early age that by taking you can feel your hands, but by giving you can feel your heart. So for me, I really like, like your wife, I'm so proud that you're sharing this story. So yes, it's blessing for me to be the evidence that people like you, they are sent to us from the God. Yes, but I would like a little bit more. It's probably because it's my passionate topic now, like about diversity, and you already mentioned it. But have you ever heard about this actually quite new concept? Because people just used very negative terminology about people with diagnose or odd or awkward or I mean, like with this special type of neurodiversity which we have, right? And now it's coming trend in some way that in some way people like using like buzzword. Oh, I have ADHD or ADHD or I have OCD about that. But some people are not just joking about it. But many people now they start being more open, like Elon Musk and Bill Gates, that they have special type. It's just their brain, they are wired, and my brain I wired differently. Why it should be like we love biodiversity, but when we are talking about us who has diagnosis, it's just negative. But what do you think? How actually the trend now in society? What can we actually do that people like me, like it can be more inclusive culture for us environment? Because people like me, we suffer much more from depression and suicidal attempts and everything because we stuck on the French. It's killing us. We kind of don't fit in the society because of our disorders. And I don't call it disorder, I call it just different order, but it's still disability disorder. What have you actually reflected about this concept, neurodiversity?
It's interesting. I haven't heard of that, but while you were talking, I created a concept, and I think diversity is about inclusion and judgment. So the people who are constantly judging others, it's because we mentioned it before, it's because they're different. And it also seems that so many people in especially the States, it seems like everyone's offended by something. And it must be exhausting to be perpetually offended by something. I don't know how people do it. So I would get too tired of getting offended. But I think what the world needs to understand is, with those people who are offended by certain things, like whatever somebody said, oh my God, I'm so offended by that. What I say is about me. What you hear is about you. And I think if we understand that from a core perspective, what someone says and how someone translates it, there's where the difference is.
Yeah.
If you were to speak to me in Russian and I was getting upset, it's because I'm pretending to understand what you're saying. I have no idea. I'm putting meaning to those words that I have no idea what you're saying.
Yes.
But if it was in English and I understood, then we could talk about it. But I think it's the people who put their own labels, their own feelings, reflect how they feel onto other cultures, where they need to not do that.
Exactly. It's like yesterday I've heard you were speaking with Mr. Miranda podcast, right? And then you explained the same, that it's about projecting people's ability. With people say you cannot do that, but you said no, I can do that. It's
Exactly.
how I think. But they said that it's from your perspective, it's you believe. So it's always about our putting the lens and projecting our abilities, our thoughts, approach, and everything, instead of actually being a little bit more open to wider lens and understand that like again, like different culture, it's just about respect and understanding that it's about different and diversity. It's about actually biodiversity. It's health system, right? But for us also, we should think in that way, because we are all different. That's why it's how we can coexist in healthy way. Because like it's true, like you said, like if everybody absolutely equal, it's not just boring, but then we will be dying. Because to create immunity against everything in the nature, and we all should like expose each other, right? Even in nature, how you can build immunity against something, then you should really like expose something. That then it's about people. It's the same how you create solution. If you just blind thinking, how you can make solution in business if 10 people exactly with the same solution approach can sit and start deciding what kind of right. So it's interesting about inclusion, like you said, and I'm so happy that watching your life path that you really show by your actions that you care about people. You care about people, not from the just perspective for yourself, from their perspective. For me it's really about inclusion, because people now they speak a lot about inclusion. It's kind of trendy now for big companies also, like, but at the end of the day it's not that much persons do. But I really believe you're showing that by every single day, by small micro changes, small steps, we can change the world. Because if you're saving one person, you save the whole humanity, right?
Exactly.
So
And it's also interesting. We become a mirror for how people feel sometimes. When they project on us, we become a mirror for their own feelings. For example, a lot of people can probably relate to this. Let's say someone has a teenager and you're in an argument and the teenager gets super upset and says, "I hate you." No, you don't. It's just how they feel about themselves in that moment. And people need to realize that, going back to the biodiversity, human beings are messing up the world. We need to take care of it better. And I came up with this concept of, if you look at the human body, and when the human body gets, say, a virus or a bacteria, we'll say a bacteria, it becomes infected with a bacteria. The human body raises its temperature to kill off the bacteria.
mm-hmm.
If you look at the world as a living ecosystem, which it is, looking at how biodiversity is and how everything lives off one another, Mother Nature can take care of herself.
Yeah.
Human beings are the bacteria of the world. So what is she doing? She's raising her temperature to try to get rid of us.
Virus. Yes.
Exactly. So we need to take care of our host.
Yes.
We're basically here for this amount of time. We're not taking good care of our host.
No, bad, really. We actually, yes, we cause all the problem, not animals, not nature, it's us. We are actually scary viruses, it's true. And again, about diversity and inclusion, now we have global, really big challenges. And just by uniting, we can try to solve them, not just by being separate, right? So people really need to understand that huge global problems, we should be united. And then we should have respect towards that we all diverse, and this is beauty of that. So okay, I'm not going to torture you anymore, so, and I would like to just wrap up with a little bit joke, or maybe like uplifting notes. And actually I've been to Morocco now, and like I already mentioned, my favorite color is pink. And you see I bought very cute sweet pink. What is reminded for you, what it is?
Well, it looks like you're gonna rub it and you're gonna get 3 wishes.
Yes, but Aladdin. So okay, let's play in fairy tale, because I believe we always should be and should come back to our childish part. Yes, even okay, your child and my child also was, but no, you and me to conclusion. It was our blessing. That's why we are as we are today. So yes, we have nice childhood, but if we're speaking about fairy tales and Aladdin, and yes, Genie and the Lamp. But I'm kind of okay, not maybe that generous. So just one wish. If I could grant you just one wish, not 3. Okay, maybe after we climb with Kilimanjaro, you be together. Yes, we can bargain. Maybe, but we start from the one. What
Just
would that
one
be?
wish.
One wish.
Wow. I would wish for understanding in how the world really works with the ability to change it for the better. Not overnight. Like, I'm not going to wish for money. I'm not going to wish for fame. That's too easy, right? I'm going to wish for insight. I'm going to wish for education. I'm going to wish for something bigger, something better. So I'm going to wish for the global understanding and respect. How's that?
Oh, wow, amazing. I love it, Summer. Global understanding and respect. You know, if everybody just could pronounce it, because it's already affirmation and the signal to universe, then it's ultimate recipe to stop all the wars. Because we need just actually understanding and respect. It's more than enough. And then it gives hope and love, and yes, and then we are saved. Thank you so much. It was so beautiful beginning, because we start, you and me, like welcome forward, and now we're like also wrapping up with. So actually, you and me, nice team. We can, I believe, just 1 hour. We have the already like the global recipe to save the whole world, right? So Sean, thank you so much for sharing your incredible journey and insights with us. And I hope you still had this opportunity and I was not talking all the time. Your story is a powerful reminder of the strengths and resilience of the human spirit, which inspires everyone to dream big, embrace challenges, and never give up. And the possibilities are limitless. And of course, thank you to our listeners for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe and share this episode. Stay tuned more for inspirational story. And please believe and remember, empathy plays a pivotal role in building meaningful connections and fostering hope. It allows us to see beyond our own experience and truly understand the emotions and struggles of others. And in doing so, we can bridge the gaps, overcome barriers, and create a sense of unity. And like you have said brilliantly, we wish you and me in the very beginning of this year, yes, our grand wish will be the global mutual understanding and respect. Thank you so much for being today with us and with me. And I wish you beautiful. It's still season. I don't know. It's already job, right? It's not holiday, because Ukrainian Christmas will be also the 7th of January. So we are still. You still can make wish. You see. So that's why I was not joking. I can make it.
We got it. There we go. And I know, wrapping up, I would say spasibo, sestra.
Thank you. And you promised me to take to Kilimanjaro, so now you can send me some links. How can I start? Because you see, it's everything from here, right? I need to start to build my resilience for that.
Right now, you can go to seanswarner.com. And while we were talking, I created a code for the Big Hill Challenge. I'll send it to you. You can include it in the notes and for 50% off. The code is diversity.
Diversity, cool, amazing. And my last question, actually, I saw also you have created some 7 days challenge, free challenge program, or is it still available as well? Because I saw on your site yesterday, it was also kind of course for people to build resilience. Is it still, or this is the part of the program?
That's part of that. That's the Big Hill Challenge. Yeah.
Okay. So this is now okay. Then I can share you with our audience, and yes, I hope we really can inspire. And if we just help one person, like we said, we saved humanity. Thank you for being with us, and yes, stay in touch. Bye bye.